My name is Jeremy Pohleven, and this is my presentation on the myth behind downtime in the workplace. What is downtime? Downtime, according to Webster's dictionary, is time when you are not working or busy. It's time during which production is stopped, or it's also defined as inactive time as between periods of work. What are some workplace myths? Well, a lot of people believe that more invested hours equals more productive work. A lot of people believe that downtime is equal to wasted time. The false perception that employees are too busy to take time off from work is very common. And lastly, the best way to solve a difficult problem is to relentlessly focus on the problem, which isn't always necessarily true either. So these myths, these so-called myths, are directly related to typical workday habits. Does this sound familiar? You wake up tired, you check your email before getting out of bed, you might even eat your lunch at your desk, you leave work much later in the afternoon than you want to, and even still you go home and you feel compelled to check your email in the evening. When on vacation, you might take your laptop with you so you can answer emails and get back to people, respond when you're really supposed to be relaxing and just enjoying yourself and just doing nothing related to work. Very, very common. It shows dedication, but it also is not necessarily good, despite what most people believe. So what are some consequences of typical workday habits? Well, more exhaustive hours at work leads to less time for sleep, and insufficient sleep takes a toll on performance. So even though you're working harder, does not necessarily mean that you're working better. Next, increased energy to compensate for lack of time leads to being burned out, also known as that 2:30 kind of feeling, which we've all had, and it seems to hit right on the dot, for me anyways. And finally, not enough sleep, which is said to, which translates to about less than 6 hours of sleep per night, as a strong predictor of on-the-job burnout. And according to a recent Harvard study, it's estimated that sleep deprivation costs American companies $63.2 billion a year in lost productivity. So to explain a little bit about how the human body works, about how people function, here's a couple notable facts for you to consider. The importance of restoration is rooted in our physiology. Human beings are not designed to expend energy continuously. Rather, we're meant to pulse between spending and recovering energy. In the 1950s, there was a discovery that proved that humans sleep in cycles of roughly 90 minutes. When they're asleep, they go from light to deep sleep, and then back out again. It's called the basic rest activity cycle. Some years later, it was discovered that the cycle is similar during our waking lives. So in other words, every 90 minutes our body tells us to take some kind of a break, but since we're working, and since it's during the day and this is what we're used to, we override those commands and we drink things like coffee or soda or eat anything with sugar in it, or that sort of thing. So we're pretty much we're fighting what our bodies are telling us to do. So what's the solution to this? The solution, well, the best way to get more done may be to spend more time doing less. According to an article in the New York Times called "Relax, You'll Be More Productive." Creating the space for downtime increases productivity. Studies have proven that daytime workouts, short afternoon naps, longer sleep hours, more time away from the office, and longer, more frequent vacations boost productivity, job performance, and health. So how can we change the habits? How can we work more productively? Well, some organization-wide habits that can be practiced are allowing a work-from-home policy. Working from home is often a nice break from having to commute back and forth to work. You're less stressed because you don't have to deal with the traffic. Not every day, but maybe alternate between employees, something to that effect. Just so employees aren't that stressed, and less stress equals better work. Have mandatory vacations for employees. If you mandate vacation policies, then employees won't feel the obligation to not take time off from work, and with the goal of looking like they are more professional or more dedicated to their job, when in actuality they're just not taking time off from work, and the only thing that it's doing is stressing them out. And also the vacations, the mandated vacations would have to would have to be without any work related, no phone calls, no emails, etc. Nothing work related during vacations. And also allow midday relaxation strategies. It could be meditation, it could be, working out, it can be a lot of different things. But your own form of relaxation, maybe a 15-minute little chit-chat, with some employees, which brings me to my next slide. Individual work habits to practice. Take a midday nap, as long as your organization allows you to do so. Leave work for lunch. Instead of eating at your desk and checking your email during your lunch and working during your lunch, go out. Take 30 minutes to an hour. Enjoy yourself. Get out of the office. Use your morning for breakfast and me time, not work time. Like I said already, exercise, and also strike up a conversation with a coworker about non-work related topics. And just to prove this theory does work in the movie Office Space, Peter, when interviewing with the Bobs, or when speaking with the Bobs, he makes it a point to say, well, in any given week, he does about 15 minutes of real actual work, and that leads to him being promoted. The Bobs actually say to him, quote, "What if I told you, Peter, that you, sir, are management material?" And he gets the job. And anyone who's seen it laughs. And finally, people get so tied up in their work that their personal lives begin to fall apart. And I'm not saying to spend all day sleeping or putting work last. I'm only recommending that we consider what benefits can come from a little bit of uninterrupted relaxation. Thank you.